Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome to the Divine Wealth Awakening show, where intuition brings your soul to life. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. The Divine Wealth Awakening show has been made possible by Greenray Pro and High Tech Options. Divine Wealth Awakening is a platform for codependent women to let go of their fears, to be seen and heard, and to create a business based on their soul purposes and gifts so they can activate their inner light, ignite their intuition, and speak their authentic truth with confidence. Today we're going to be talking about what if you were never wrong. We'll be uncovering the lies of wrongness of you, and then we'll be sharing with you how energy alignments can shift you out of the space of wrongness and shame so that you can be your powerful, creative, happy self again. One of the biggest hurdles for codependent women to overcome is the feeling of wrongness. And if you were tuning in to last week's show, I mentioned on there that there's a significant value that's placed on the rightness and wrongness of anything, especially when it comes to creating an online business in this day and age. Most everything is being done now via video. Facebook Live is available. YouTube has a live video option now. Instagram, Snapchat, all of those platforms have live video options. So how many of you will not post a live video if all the circumstances aren't right, good, perfect, and correct? Right? Like, your makeup has to be on and done right. Your hair has to look just so. The kids need to be out of the house so that it's quiet, like if you have kids. I'm a single mother of two, so I do have two noisy boys. Everything has to be basically the right conditions, the right setting, the right. Otherwise, it's all just wrong. By the time you get all the right conditions done and in place and everything all set up, do you actually remember what it was that you were going to say once you get the video turned on? Or by this time, are you having a brain fart and have forgotten what you were going to do? So you actually wind up doing nothing. Your video gets put off again because now, out of wrongness of you, your self-confidence has been squashed. And you're thinking, dang it, I can't do anything right. So one of my suggestions for eliminating video marketing overwhelm is that if you already know that you absolutely will not do a video unless you look a certain way, that's cool. That's actually awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. What if, though, you could prepare yourself with that certain look first thing in the morning? Like when you're getting ready for the day, put your makeup on, do your hair, put on clothes that light you up, and prepare your mind for being receptive to spontaneous awarenesses as they come in. That way you're ready. And there's nothing to do except follow your awareness and allow your intuition to guide you. Your intuition is the voice of your soul. So literally, when your soul speaks, you are already ready to take action. And by being prepared, you're eliminating self-sabotage and procrastination. Like Abraham Hicks says, you are ready to be ready to be ready. So quite often I receive downloads from Source. And the other day I received one that was so amazing, I'd love to share it with you today. Having spent 20 years married to someone who has NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder, I now often ask, how is it that I can best serve codependent women? And what information can I give them that will unlock and unravel the labeling and the effects of codependency? So when I ask a question, usually pretty quickly an awareness will come in. And the message that I received was actually about where NPD actually comes from energetically. So this is what I received. Narcissism was created to eliminate the ability to believe in anything, fully from the heart, thus creating what we call codependency in others. This is done so that one has to rely on another as a source of everything possible. So with this, the lies of codependency were created, and those lies sound like you aren't good enough, you aren't enough, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't have enough information to share that with the world, you don't deserve, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. The foundation of narcissism is fear and judgment, which are the two killers of absolutely everything on this planet. Fear creates wars, poverty, lack, anger, rage, judgment, and hate. Judgment creates dis-ease, physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. The sad thing to me is that fear and judgment have become what most people function from. They have been so ingrained into us as children that trying to begin living without fear and without judgment, it actually feels super uncomfortable. Have you noticed that? It's like fear and judgment really feel like normal ways to be and live in this world. And the truth is, those are learned feelings and emotions. They're not your natural state of being. Your natural true state of being, how you came into this world, is joyful, nurturing, happy. So what happens is that codependents develop a mutated perception that they can fix narcissism with enabling, doing, with resisting and reacting. So they fall for the lies and they shut off their powers. Consequently, never actually sharing their magical gifts with the world because they lost their belief in themselves, in Source, in Mother Earth, and in the unseen magic energy. So we all know that when you create something, it begins with a thought first. You have a thought, and then ideas and inspirations begin flowing in, and then you begin to take inspired action based on your ideas. If you do not believe in yourself, how far do you actually get with your creative process? Like, is there a certain point at which you find that you stop creating? And do you find that it's generally after you've talked with somebody who doesn't support you and what your targets are? Or do you find that it might be after you've hopped onto social media and discovered that 50 other people have the same idea and have already launched something similar? Either way, if this is the cause, your believability in yourself, in your gifts, in Source, and in the universe aren't strong enough to keep you in motion throughout the entire creative process. So how do you begin to believe in yourself again and have self-confidence? Like, no matter what. So first of all, it might be time to take a look at who is in your immediate space that you might need to eliminate from your immediate space. You become a vibrational match to what you surround yourself with. So now it's time to take a short break. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. This is Divine Wealth Awakening. And when we come back, I will share some more about, are you using the wrongness of you as an excuse, and how to get negative, grumpy people out of your space. So stay tuned. No, I wrote too much content. Oh, very cool. I'm doing this live via YouTube as well. Yes, I am. I was trying to have all of my ducks in a row today. You have to have an account, and then you also have to, once you go to enable your YouTube Live option, it's 24 hours, and then you can do that. So I actually had to use my old account to do the YouTube live today. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, everything is, and that's, for codependent women who really don't have any self confidence, everybody's watching videos. And, yes. That. Okay, cool. Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome back. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. You're listening to Divine Wealth Awakening, where intuition brings your soul to life. All of this has been made possible by Greenway Pro and High Tech Options. So when we went to break, we were talking about getting negative people and negative things out of your space. So basically, if you're surrounding yourself with negative people, with all kinds of negativity, it could be at the workplace, it could be people that you come into contact with all the time. Anyways, so when you're surrounding yourself with all of that, you are a vibrational match to more negativity, and that's actually what you're attracting into your life. So I know this because when I was little, I used to wake up with the sun and the roosters. And I was so excited for every new day. And I would actually get in trouble for being too happy. Nobody is that happy when they get up in the morning. That's not normal. Especially on the weekends. So the thing is, negative, grumpy people have a very low tolerance for happy, bubbly amazingness. So I invite you to look at who and what is in your space that's squashing your true essence, which is happy, joyful, bubbly, creative, and excited for life and for every new day. So, one of the other things that wrongness of you does is it helps you to create excuses. So are you using wrongness of you as an excuse? So before we went to break, I also gave you a tip on starting your day being prepared and being ready to be ready. I know because I've been there that when you're living with and in the energy of nothing you do is right, everything you do is wrong, it's not an easy space to shift out of. In fact, there were many days that crawling into a hole and hiding or staying in bed with the covers over my head seemed like a really fun thing to do and like the best place in the world to hang out. But the thing is, when you're in that space, you can find a million excuses to why you can't do anything right and why your life is a mess. Excuses are procrastination, and the longer you do not follow your true path, the more of a mess you will create your life as. And I actually saw something one of my mentors posted on Facebook this week. And it was like, if your life is truly a mess, then that just means you're potent. That doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with you. It just means you're potent and powerful. Because if you can create that big of a mess, what if you focused on something different? I wonder what you could create with that, right? So right now, look at the places in your life where you're using excuses to not do something. Where are the places that you find yourself saying, I can't because, or it's not possible because, or I'm not good enough because, or I don't have enough certifications, or everyone else is doing what I was going to do, so now no one wants what I have to offer. Like if any of those are thoughts that are going through your head at any moment, these are seeds of self-sabotage. And these excuses, which by the way are not true, will keep you in the loop of procrastination. The truth is, you are an amazing, beautiful woman. No one else on this planet has what you have to offer. No one else on this planet can deliver what you have to offer in the way that you can. No one else on this planet will ever attract the clients that are looking for you. Your energy is what they're attracted to, not the thing you're offering. So I'll say that again. Your energy is what your clients are attracted to, not the thing you're offering. So later on in the show today, I'll be sharing with you how energy alignment sessions with me will help you shift out of the loop of wrongness and shame. And I just wanted to say, I would love to hear from you. If any of this is resonating with you and you have something you'd like help working through, you can call in live at 866-451-1451. This is a great space of non-judgment to receive free facilitation from me, so I invite you to take full advantage of that. Also, chances are, if you have something that's sticking you and your progress, someone else has the same thing or something very similar sticking them. So when you call in and ask questions, we are that much closer to helping millions of women shift and change the energy of codependency and the effects it has made on the planet. So the lines are open. Please feel free to call in. The number again is 866-451-1451. And also, if you have questions that you prefer to ask me in private, you can email me at DivineWealthAwakening.com or send me a Facebook message through Facebook.com/Janie Lin Smith. So back to excuses. If you're making excuses, you're not creating the business you desire. You're creating stagnation. On every show, I will give you some tools that will clear your space and your energy. And each week I'll actually be giving you questions to ask. So questions create choice, and choice creates possibilities. When you're aware that you're making excuses, ask yourself what the value is. Like, what is the value of choosing to make that excuse? What purpose does it serve? When there is something that we keep doing over and over and over, there is some purpose that it serves for us. We place some sort of value on it. So asking what the value of whatever excuses that you are making are is highly beneficial to changing old patterns. Most of the time, it's something that served a purpose way back when you were a kiddo, and now that you aren't 4 or 6 or 8 anymore, it's actually become a limitation instead of a contribution or a safety zone. So, as an example, I grew up in a house where I was mostly to be seen and not heard. This meant that when I would speak up, there would be a consequence that was usually unpleasant. So when I got to high school and had to take speech class, I was a nervous wreck. So I passed the class with a D-. And so if you fast forward to a couple years ago, if I had used the excuse that I couldn't speak in public, I would have never gotten on a plane, flew to New York, and landed myself on a TV show talking about a book that I had co-authored in. So now it's time to take a short break. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We are live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. This is Divine Wealth Awakening. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about believing that excuses are real. And we're also going to talk about my absolutely favorite tool that I use every day, all day. It's called Light and Heavy. I use it to keep myself in alignment. So stay tuned. Yes. This is hilarious because I actually went through and I talked my whole thing that I'm talking today. And I must be talking slower today or something because I'm not talking fast enough. Yeah. Too much. Yeah. Does it sounds okay though? Yes, absolutely. Very cool. Thank you. Okay. Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome back. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. You're listening to Divine Wealth Awakening, where intuition brings your soul to life. All of this has been made possible by Greenway Pro and High Tech Options. And before we went to break, we were talking about uh, what happened in speech class and then not using that as an excuse, like when I was in high school. So like I said, I got on a plane and flew to New York, and I was on a global TV show, internet TV, with a panel of 6 of the other authors that wrote in, the book is called I'm Having It. It's the very first book I ever wrote in. It's Rags to Riches. Everyone wrote a chapter and shared their story on how they went from nothing to where they're at now. And the interesting thing is there was pieces and parts of that I believed. Like, I believed I could write a book. I didn't believe I had it all. But when it came to when I was asked to be on the TV show, there was never any question in my mind about going or not going. The lightness of the energy of going immediately dissolved all the excuses that I had previously used to not speak in public. So excuses that you believe are real, that you use as limitations, that will squash possibilities and opportunities that the universe has sent to you to actually move you closer to your target and to what you're wanting to create. So when you're making excuses, do you actually believe that you can do whatever it is that you're putting off? When you do not truly believe that you can do something, you will actually find every excuse under the sun to not do it. So I invite you to really look at, why are you making excuses? Every time you make an excuse and every time you use it to stop yourself, you're actually reiterating the wrongness of you. So like, how do you feel when you don't get something done? Do you feel light, airy, and bubbly? Or do you go into judging yourself and into anger because yet again something didn't get done? So my favorite tool, I told you I was going to share with you, is called Light and Heavy. And I'm going to do this by walking you through an exercise. So if you're tuning in live and you're driving, please do not close your eyes while you're driving. If you're sitting in a chair, then feel free to close your eyes. So if you can, close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. Take a few deep breaths. If you're driving, just put your hand on your heart and breathe. Take a few deep breaths. So putting your hand on your heart brings you into your heart space and present with your body. Breathing feeds your body life and centers you in the moment. So this light and heavy tool is similar to muscle testing and the sway test. If you're familiar with those, this will be a great new tool for you. If not, this will be something brand new that you can play with. So ask your body, We're going to ask your body questions. So ask your body to show you what it feels like, what light feels like. How does your body show you how to perceive what's light? So what is light is true for you, not for someone else, just you. So what do you feel in your body? Do you feel like it's easier to breathe? Do you feel tingly? Do you feel expansion somewhere in your body? It's different for everyone. That's why I use this exercise, because this is about you knowing and learning what's true for you without anyone else's points of views, ideas, or beliefs. So once you get a sensation or a feeling on what your body is showing you, what light feels like, ask your body to amp it up. So we're going to amp it up and amp it up and amp it up. Ask your body to turn it up and amp it up until you know that you know exactly what light is and what the sensation of truth for you feels like. Good. So now we're going to switch it. Ask your body to show you what heavy feels like. What is heavy is not true for you. If you like, you can refer to heavy as a lie. So ask your body to show you how to perceive heavy. What do you feel in your body? Do you feel something contract? Do you feel like it's hard to breathe? Do you feel more dense? So once again, how you feel and perceive this in your body is different than what someone else would feel or perceive. So once you get a sensation or feeling, ask your body to amp it up. Turn it up and amp it up and amp it up and amp it up until you know that you know exactly what heavy is and what heavy feels like in your body for you. So by amping up the sensation, we're creating an imprint that you can refer to anytime you choose. Very cool. So now that you know what light feels like in your body, and you also know what heavy feels like in your body, here's why this is important. If you ask a question and you get an awareness that is heavy, that is not true for you. When you ask a question and you get an awareness that is a sensation of lightness, that is true for you. So if you're making choices based on feelings of heaviness, you will create more heaviness, more contraction, more dis-ease, discomfort in your life. When you're making choices based on feelings of lightness, you will create more lightness, ease, expansion, joy, and happiness in your life. So lightness is true for you because it's I'm speaking English today, I promise. Lightness is true for you because it's in alignment with your true essence and your soul purpose. Heaviness is not true for you because it's not in alignment with your true essence and your soul purpose. So have you ever had one of those bad gut feelings and you didn't listen to it? What happens when you choose to do that? It's usually not something very pleasant. So this is just a different way to build your gut feeling muscle on purpose for the intention of expanding every area of your life. So now it's time to take a short break again. I am your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. This is Divine Wealth Awakening, and when we come back, we're going to talk about mental health and preventative care for your mind. So stay tuned. Okay. Hello. Hi. Uh-huh. Okie dokie. Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome back. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. You're listening to Divine Wealth Awakening, where intuition brings your soul to life. Divine Wealth Awakening is brought to you by Greenway Pro and High Tech Options. So, if you're just now tuning in, the topic for today's show is what if you were never wrong? And now I would like to share with you a little bit about mental health and preventative care for your mind. Before I go into that, I just wanted to say really quickly on the light and heavy tool that I gave you before we went to break. When you discover that you're making choices that are in alignment with heaviness, please do not judge yourself. The tool is not designed to help you create another thing for you to decide that you're right or wrong. It's actually designed to give you more choice and to help you discover where you've been functioning. You cannot change something unless you are aware of what to change. So when you find that you're making heavy choices, that's cool, actually. Have gratitude for the awareness that you were able to receive the awareness. Take a deep breath, ask some questions, and choose again. Your life is not set in stone. You get to create it moment by moment. One day at a time, one step at a time, one choice at a time. You are actually the creator of your reality. No one else gets to choose for you and how your life should be according to their agenda. So, this is why I give you the light and heavy tools, so that you can follow your own awareness and your own intuition based on what's true for you. And I would like to say also, if you have any questions, if you have comments that you would like to share, please feel free to call in. The lines are open. The number is 866-451-1451. We would love to hear from you. So the other day I came across a video that Prince did about mental health. He was talking about how we value our oral health way more than we value our mental health. Excuse me. Like, we're taught to brush our teeth and floss like twice a day, and to keep them clean and shiny and healthy, and that's super important. We go to the dentist twice a year for a checkup, and then when something isn't functioning smoothly, we're off immediately to the dentist to get it fixed. He said that nothing is ever really mentioned about preventative care for your mind. And if you think about it, he's right. Like, no one thinks about losing their mind until it's gone. Yet we worry about losing our teeth all the time. So there are mental health coaches all over the place, and they come in different forms, right? What I find interesting with society is that it's gotten to the point where when someone says, I'm a mindset coach, or I'm an energy healer, or a spiritual coach, I'm a life coach, eyes roll, and it's like, really? Here's another one. The truth is, all of these coaches and healers help you with preventative care for your mind. It's really actually super cool if you look at it. Prince was also talking about the idea that we pay attention to what we feed our bodies, and we're super careful about the toxins in the food and on the food and where our nourishment comes from. Yet, we are not so careful about the toxic thoughts that we allow our mind to ingest. So one of my favorite sayings pops in again with this, and it's, what you think about, you speak about, and what you speak about, you bring about. It's just universal law. It's the process in which things are manifested into reality. So toxic thoughts come from fear. They create depression, anxiety, addictions, codependency, narcissism, they create a type of sickness that medications don't cure. So I invite you to look at and ask a question like, what would your physical and mental state be like without a constant flow of toxic thoughts? So back to the topic of what if you were never wrong, how many times a day do you go to the space of wrongness of you? And then since your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, how many times a day is wrongness of you projected at you? So now I invite you to look at how you're choosing to be with that. Are you going into resistance and reaction? Are you defending for or against something? Or are you able to be in the space of allowance and let it dissipate as, that's interesting. Interesting that he or she is pointing out everything they believe I'm doing, saying, or being is wrong. Interesting that I believe what they're saying is true. Interesting that I'm making myself wrong for the choices I've made, or anything else. If you're not in the space of everything is just interesting, that's cool, then you are in resistance and reaction, which leads to defending for and against. So another question for you to ask is, when you find yourself doing that and caught up in that loop, ask yourself, what other choice is possible now? So when someone is codependent, they live in a space of wrongness of self constantly. It shows up in their relationships, in their work, in their actions, in their thoughts, and they talk about it. So once again, what you think about, you speak about. So if you're running around thinking toxic thoughts of how wrong you are, you're going to be talking about it in one form or another. When you speak about it, you manifest it into reality. So these are the kinds of things that we shift and clear in my energy alignment sessions and in my intuitive business creation courses. This is why we begin with creating vision boards that create sensations and feelings that keep us in alignment. This is why we begin with tuning in and discovering your soul gifts, along with everything else that's right and magical about you. When you create something from the beginning that's intended to enhance your life and the lives of those around you, when you create that from the space of kindness, gratitude, love, caring, and compassion, there's no room for judgment and fear. Wrongness of you just doesn't exist. So it's actually physically impossible for gratitude and judgment to coexist in the same energetic space. It's like trying to frown and smile at the same time. So just for fun, I invite you to try that and see how it works. So now we are going to take a short break. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We are live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. You are listening to Divine Wealth Awakening. And when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about frowning and smiling at the same time, and then how energy alignment sessions can help you shift your patterns. So stay tuned. Okay. For ending? Well, I wrote one out this time because I had completely spaced that I was going to end the show last week. Duh. No, I forgot at the end of the, it's 4.5 minutes or something like that, right? Okay. Yeah, I forgot to do an exit thing. Yeah, so that was the big blurpy last week. So I did actually write one out. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Very cool. Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome back. I'm your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. You are listening to Divine Wealth Awakening, where intuition brings your soul to life. Divine Wealth Awakening is brought to you by Greenway Pro and High Tech Options. The topic for today's show was, what if you were never wrong? Before we went to break, we were talking about frowning and smiling at the same time. So I'd actually like you to try that. You can even do this if you're driving. So put a frown on your face and really mean it. Like, really feel something that makes you frown. Notice what happens in your body and the sensations that are popping in. Right? Good. So now hold on to that frown energy and at the same time smile while projecting gratitude from your heart space. This is what happens when you smile. It chemically, physically, and energetically changes what is going on in your body. So do you feel that? What's happening in your body? The frown and the frown energy begins to disappear. And by the way, if you really want to laugh, do that in front of the mirror. If you really need a laugh for the day, stand in front of the mirror and try and frown and smile at the same time and be the energy of both. So, what if you actually could create laughter? And laughter is the best medicine. So what if you choose to do that with yourself instead of judging yourself? What would that change in your world? You would certainly be a lot less serious, for sure. So the energy of love and gratitude are the highest vibrations on the planet, and they will dissipate any fear of any kind at any time when you can actually truly and really be those energies. So I invite you to look at what energetic toxins you are allowing your mind and your body to ingest. And begin by asking some of the questions that I gave you here on the show today. And another one I really like, if I were truly choosing for me, what would I choose? And then you can add some more words to that, like, instead of what would I choose, who would I choose? How would I choose to be? What other choice is possible here? And then also play with the light and heavy tool. So, and now I would love to share with you about energy alignment sessions and how they can help shift your patterns. So this is something I've been doing since I was a child, the energy tuning. I have the ability to dissipate negative, dense, heavy energy and transform it into light, bubbly, joyful, and happy. I've had people ask me just to sit in their space or sit near them because they feel better. They don't know why, but they're just like, here, can you sit here, please? I feel better when you're here. 18 years ago, I learned to do distance energy work while I was taking one of my Reiki classes. And I didn't realize how magical this capacity was until one of my dear friends wound up in a very serious motorcycle accident. He was driving home from work on his motorcycle. He was a chiropractor. And he was hit head on by a drunk driver in a truck. He went through the windshield and he went out the back window and buried himself head first in the bed of the truck. Both his arms and legs were shattered, plus he had bumps and bruises and some minor head injuries. And by the time I got to be able to visit him, he had already been in the hospital for several weeks. So what I did is I spent the day chatting with him, and I did some hands-on body processes that I learned while I was in Access Consciousness. And then he started getting company and people started coming in. So I went home. Before I went home, I said, if you'd like, I'll work on you from home tonight. So I did that. When I got home, I did my first energy tuning session that I'd ever done. And I called him the next day to see how he was doing. I was so excited. He said, I have no idea what you did, but I completely forgot to take my pain meds today. Like, completely forgot. He said, that's never happened. And it wasn't very long. It was maybe a couple weeks shortly after that. He was healing so fast, they sent him home. And he got to enjoy a full recovery, and he returned back to work as a chiropractor. So everything on this planet, including the planet itself, is made up of energy. Our bodies function because of energy. We have electricity in our homes because of energy. Our hearts beat because of energy. Plants grow because of energy. Scientifically, they tell us the only reason that we believe things are solid is because the molecules are moving so slow. So if that's the case, your homes that you live in and the cars that you drive are also made up of energy. So my ability to communicate and connect to energy actually allows me to see it, shift it, clear it, and align it. I now have clients that hire me to align their animals. I have clients that hire me to align their businesses, which is one of my favorite things in the world to do. I also have clients that hire me to align their relationships. So this was the weird, quirky thing about me that for years I was not really to own as an ability and a gift. Because I was worried about what others would think. And remember, what you think about, you speak about, and what you speak about, you bring about. So I was known as the weird person anyways. So there were several ways that that showed up. And one of the ways that, I was told that I didn't know what I was talking about. And a lot of times I was told to mind my own business. So I share that with you because it's really easy to shut down your authenticity and your truth when you're codependent. And when you're in immediate relationships, whether you're married to somebody who's narcissistic, whether it's a family member, somebody that you work with, it's really easy to believe what they say is real and true. And remember, that's only based on their beliefs, their points of views, and their ideas. It's not based on what's true for you. When you're in the space of codependency, you choose to believe that it's real. So, we are scheduled for a short break. And when we come back, I will share with you the packages that I offer in the alignment sessions. And I have an amazing special announcement for what's happening next week here on the show. We have a live guest. You are listening to the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. This is Divine Wealth Awakening. I am Janie Lin, your host. So stay tuned. Okay. 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 Yes. My non-English is rubbing off. Oh no. Namaste, beautiful beings. Welcome back. I am your host, Janie Lin. We're live on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. You're listening to Divine Wealth Awakening, where intuition brings your soul to life. Divine Wealth Awakening is brought to you by Greenway Pro and High Tech Options. So the topic for today's show was, what if you were never wrong? And when we went to break, we were talking about energy alignment sessions and how they can help shift you. So, for a long story short, some of the ways that I have helped shift and change my clients. Elimination of pain if it was present. Immediate increase in paying clients that was a continuous flow. Like, I look back on their businesses, those who I helped the beginning of 2017, and I look at their businesses now, that I got the privilege and the honor of doing the energetic tuning. It's amazing. Their income increased from like nothing. They weren't even able to pay their bills to increasing by 500 and 1,000%. One of my clients, I love to go on Facebook and see what she's doing next. She is globetrotting all over the country, and it's just amazing. She had been in a space where she couldn't even buy toothpaste. It's very cool. There's been one of my sessions I did on a client. I was actually working with her kiddo, and I was able to shift and change the energy of a bully at school. It was amazing. He went to school the next day and came home, and he says, "Mom, he was totally different." Because this bully was not just bullying him, he was bullying the entire school and the teachers. And the kid was nice. He was kind and caring. He was completely the opposite of what he had been being. And he was actually very pleasant to be around. So, and as you know, things are going on hiatus with all our kids in their schools and these school shootings. And if all it takes is a simple shift in energy to change what is going on with our kids and at school, then why aren't more of us doing it? That's what I would like to know. So, my sessions are one-on-one, and I offer them in kind of unique, different ways. I have a one-on-one session. It's kind of like a taster. It's a full session, but it gives you an idea of how it feels and what I do. I offer 21 days, consecutive days, 14 consecutive days, or 7 consecutive days as well. We have come to believe that it takes 21 days to clear old patterns and instill new ones. However, I believe that that has changed. So if you would like a consecutive day package, tune in and see what your body requires to shift and change the old stuckness. So for booking a session, you can email me at DivineWealthAwakening@gmail.com. You can also message me on Facebook at facebook.com/Janie Lin Smith. And I'm so excited. Next week, same time, same place, on the show live, we will have my dear friend and colleague Susan Schatzer. She'll be live as a guest speaker, talking to us about the magic of gratitude. And just to give you a teaser on who she is, she's a 7-time #1 international best-selling author. She's a global consciousness facilitator, and she's an energetic health professional who works in supporting you in unlocking your limitless life. One secret that I will share with you, my business is where it is today because I've had the privilege and the honor of being able to work with Susan. So I invite you, be live on the show next week. And before we end the show for today, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to the Divine Wealth Awakening show here on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Divine Wealth Awakening has been made possible by Greenway Pro and High Tech Options. To register for a call with me or to ask me questions, email at DivineWealthAwakening@gmail.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a blessed day. Namaste.